Hey, finally we get
Alright.
this to work.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hammer, for your help.
Yeah, no
He told
problem.
me about this.
Oh yeah. Oh, Hammer?
Yep.
Or who was it? Okay, cool. Yeah. Thanks, Hammer. Okay, so you're playing Skarner this game. If the chat, let us know if the audio quality is fine. It might be too loud or too quiet, but we'll wait and hear what they have to say. So yeah, Skarner, was this like played today or yesterday? Like
I was played about
post race?
6 days ago, and it's rank 5, so we're versing some pretty high elo people, so it automatically recorded, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, this is in like a Plat 2 rank 5's team.
Okay. All right. So the level one for your team, like if you're in a rank five scenario, the level ones are really important to really get down because like when you're all coordinated, invades should in theory never work because you should be able to trinket ward every entrance at the start of the game unless they late
I think
invade
I'm dead here.
afterwards. Yeah. No, we'll go over it, but like your team seemed like you guys wanted to go for this first crystal,
Yep.
but it won't be, it's not going to spawn for a while, so you guys are going to fight for it. But a future thing to note when you're doing rank fives is make sure everyone on your team is like using their warding totems at level one and like a logical spot. Like you can have your mid laner put down the warding totem around mid to make sure that they don't sneak to either side. Put a warding totem there. Let me go ahead and do the Skype screen share. Sorry, I forgot to do
It's all
that.
good.
You won't be able to see what I'm able to see in real time because the delay is still on Twitch. So, hold on. All right, let me know when you can see the screen.
Okay, I can see it now.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. I thought I'd already shared it. But so yeah, like your team didn't really do a great use of the trinket words at level one. It just seemed like
Yep.
both you and your team wanted to cap both the crystals at level one, and it's only a negligible advantage. It only gives a little bit of gold, so I don't think it's worth like dedicating your entire level one to just securing both. I think it's better for your team to be grouped at level one or to be spread out but defending. So you choose either one, either or. Like you're either as five or you're separated, but everyone puts down a trinket word to at an entrance. So because they just five man invaded and they like checked that bush, it's at a really awkward point where yeah they're just gonna kill you here because they have a lot of CC at level one with Cho and Morgana unless you flash the and dodge the Cho rupture. Yeah, it's just oh wait they're not gonna get it. Oh they got it. All right, but yeah. Just the level one, like if your team was grouped as five in the same area, you guys would have been able to fight that easier. But because it was so spread out, and you guys didn't put down warding totems, it ends up being really favorable for your opponents.
Not quite sure why we didn't put it down our wards. Probably just too keen on getting the crystals.
Yeah. Can you please turn off sub mode? The plebs are getting nervous. Okay. Freedom. All right. So the next thing is, I would highly suggest. Are you familiar with double jungling?
Yeah, but our team's not comfortable with it, so we're trying to practice it in normals and such.
Okay. Well, it's not too complicated. Like basically, all double jungling allows you to do is well, actually, it allows you to do a lot, but it's not too complicated. Your top laner just tanks the camps for you, and you share experience.
Yep.
But your top laner will take the gold for the small ones on the big camp you do. So if you start on top side with your jungler and you do Krugs then red, your top laner would take the small ones for the red, and you just share experience. This is great because your bottom lane will then be able to not have to leash and they can take Gromp. And also as a jungler, you're higher HP. So you took about, 300 damage from the Gromp and you have to use a potion. So the benefits of doing double jungling is that you won't have to use potions off the first two camps. your top laner like Shin can still get a jungle camp in and like come to lane with a billion potions and a word. So it highly suggests that you guys get familiar with double jungling. It's like definitely a big game changer. Like it's
Yeah.
probably the best thing I can simply tell you right now to start getting used to doing.
Okay.
And if you cap this point, they'll be able to see that. So the enemy team knows. The enemy team knows based on. Oh wow, the Nocturne got executed too. He probably should have double jungled as well. But but like remember, if you cap one of Skarner's points, if it's in their jungle or even neutral, they can see it on the mini map. Like they know that you're in this
Okay.
river, or at least they should. So you kind of gave away your positioning by doing that. It's sometimes just not worth it. Like even if you go for river crab, I think it's better to sometimes not cap this point. So they just, you could be anywhere right now, but they would know that you would just cap that. So, that's the limiting factor. And whenever you're jungling, just use your F1 keys to F5 keys to see how your laners are doing. Just scroll through it, hit spacebar to center the camera on yourself. That's like the most efficient way just to check and actually see what's going on because using the F1, F5 key will center it on someone on your team according to how they're
Yeah.
positioned.
I'm
And
quite glad they changed the
yeah,
HUD so that you can switch people around as well.
yeah,
It's really
absolutely.
helpful.
Nice. Okay, so coming into this gank, the main thing you got to remember, and this can be pretty tricky. Did this Cho not see you? Okay, hold on. Yeah, Cho did not respond to this. Or wait, no,
He
that's your
doesn't see me.
word.
It's his ward, but he doesn't see me just yet. Oh wait, what?
Wait, what? That's his word, but how come it doesn't see you?
Oh, I think it's the
Wait, hold on.
bush
Blue
path
vision.
maybe.
My bad. Yeah, no, he should see you. I had it on the wrong select.
Okay.
So as you came to the bush, the word fades, but he should have seen it, I think. Wait, did he back up? No, he just goes back in. Yeah, he just literally didn't see it at all. So you guys kind of lucked out on this. But whenever you're ganking top lane, there are two hot spots that are going to be trinket warded. There's the tri bush, and then like right here, um, where you placed it, or yeah, I think you placed that. But anyways, it's irrelevant. But there are two spots where they're going to have their trinket word, and you walk through both of them. So when you're ganking top, you like the path you take to gank top is really important. Like he should have seen this and he should have avoided it. But it's a communication between you and your top laner where they worded. So if, for instance, your top laner saw the Cho'Gath like hug along this big thing coming from your tribush, you would know that he had the tribush worded. And if you did that, you would combine that by saying, okay, it's more than likely he warded the tribush or in the area close to the tribush. So when you come to gank top, instead of coming through the top tribush, you'd go through the river and gank from that side. So when you gank top, you went through two of the hot spots of where the trinket ward should be, and he should have spotted this. So this gank he should have just backed off. But it ends up working simply because your opponent didn't like respond to it. And that's okay. Like sometimes like just being somewhere will net you a kill, and it's your opponent's fault for making a mistake. But that's just a small tip I can give you on that gank is actually, being careful, very cautious at how you enter the gank.
I think we knew, but we thought it was down because we wrote the timer. But we're off for
Yeah.
like 2 seconds.
Okay, so you're entering their jungle. I mean, you got to be really careful. Like, you can't get into a habit of just randomly entering their jungle though, because the thing is, once you get to higher levels of play, you're gonna get punished for this really hard. Um, I mean, their mid laner was like shoved under the tower, and their jungler wasn't here. But even if you're pretty healthy, if you enter into their jungle from their bottom side, which is very, very likely to be warded, your bottom lane already has a sightstone, but they did spot you with a normal ward and the trinket ward as well. So they know you're in the jungle. They know you're here. So in higher level games, they'll punish you for that because if they know you're there, they'll just go there and kill you. So you got to be careful. And I would only do that unless I would do that only if I knew exactly where their jungler was and their mid laner was, because now they're kind of like they sort of wanted to go for that kill on you, and they definitely should have. Like you were on the wraiths, they knew you capped this point, and like Victor is 6. I guess he's got cleanse. They don't have an ignite here, so they don't have as much burst. But Victor probably should have just gone in and harassed you a bit when you were on the wraiths, and it would have been kind of dangerous. But
I think the Scanner Crystals may be a bit cocky there.
yeah, the Skarner Crystal like definitely they knew you were there for sure, but they also saw you enter the jungle from bottom side. So small little things like that as a jungler can, if you got caught there and died, that throws away your lead that you got from getting the kill top side. Because the first blood gold at level 1, it's good for your opponents, but it doesn't give them too much experience. A big part of getting kills early on, like levels like 4 to 7, it can really catapult you ahead in experience of your opponents. So getting kills and stuff like that is like really good.
Also, is it an Emax now on Scanner?
Yeah, it's Emacs. You go EWQ, but I haven't played him since the hotfix, and I
I'm not
don't know
sure
if
if the
that.
hotfix has gone through on OCE yet.
Okay, no, it's still Emacs
Yeah.
for you guys then. So the big thing is this game. When you're playing a jungler and you have double globals on your team, you want to try to snowball your globals, and you started doing that top side sort of. Your Shin didn't get the kill, but the big thing is like getting your bottom lane ahead as a jungler is like you almost don't even need to when you have double globals on your team because like your Twisted Fate and your Shin will eventually just destroy their bottom lane. Like that's just how it goes. Bottom lane against a Twisted Fate and Shin, it's just not fun. Like you can never go aggressive, and if you do, you get punished. And if you don't, you get punished. It's just a lose-lose scenario. So when I'm playing a jungler, if I have a Twisted Fate or a Shin, I camp for them. Like, but when you have both, I would do nothing but gank for the Shin and Twisted Fate for all of laning phase. Because if you get them to a point where they're comfortable in their own lane, they're going to wreak havoc on the entire map. So
Okay.
you don't even need to gank bottom lane for your team. You just got to get your Twisted Fate and Shin to a point where they're comfortable staying alive in their lane. Like Shin's still struggling a bit in this matchup. It's getting pretty low, getting out CS'd. You got to put Shin in a position where he's bullying his lane opponent, and then Shin becomes this overbearing top laner that can be anywhere. So that's what I would do differently here. And bottom lane also has a Morgana on it for the enemy team, just really difficult for Skarner to gank because the Black Shield will cancel your ultimate, or Black Shield, and then you try to ult it, it just won't work. At least it does physical damage now, right? But the CC portion still would be blocked.
Yep.
I can't minimize that. Hold on. There we go. Okay. They needed to see the score in chat.
Ah,
All right. So yeah, like the big goal for the early game for a jungler when you have double globals is just getting the Shin and Twisted Fate ahead. Then they'll go to bottom, and you guys will get Dragon after that. Nocturne's ulting bottom. You guys have a Shin. The counterplay is real. and like just go hold top lane and get a bit more gold. What is this Cho doing? Took a couple hits. Hey, you might actually be able to kill him. He took a lot of damage there, but he'll sustain a bit of that back up. Your Twisted Fate is wrecking bottom too. This Cho didn't have teleport. He used it to get to top lane, I think. That's pretty greedy of him. He would have made a huge difference. Oh my god, look at how low your team was. 4 people with definitely below half. Cho would have probably gotten 1 or 2 kills if he had his teleport up. So kind of risky. Like that also comes down to communication. If your bottom lane feels like they're getting all in or possibly getting ganked by Nocturne, you either have to go hold like Chin's lane or Fate's lane, or you got to be down there bottom side just to like, because everything's gonna go down bottom side. Like their
Yeah.
top laner should be teleporting there and stuff like that. So just being in the area, or at least on that side of the jungle, can be better. But before that, it's all about like setting your Chin or the Twist Fate ahead. Okay, so you guys probably get this kill. Skarner ult. There it is. Skarner. Nice. Go back to farming. And just like that, your team like took complete control of the game again because, well, all of the plays your opponents have tried to make so far have been canceled or countered, and their Victor didn't roam bottom. He like hasn't done anything. Your Twisted Fate is influencing it. And that's why Twisted Fate is such a strong pick in solo queue and even competitive play, is because the Twisted Fate can literally just do nothing in lane and just sit there and last hit and then still be a part of like all these roam plays and stuff. But Victor managed to get a sneaky play off. Your team as a whole should probably be warding a bit more, a lot more actually. Everyone on your team should be putting down at least 1 pink at a time, so the whole map should be lit up like a Christmas tree. And roams like that from Victor should almost never exist. And in a rank 5s environment, your team should just like, not only besides calling Mia, should just be like warding at least one side of the river. And just if you want to get more serious about rank 5s, that should just be something you really push. Like on every back, everyone, including your ADC, like make sure that they're contributing some way to vision. Like even an ADC can buy a pink ward when they're ahead and just help contribute that way. You guys get dragon. Everyone's here. Free kill, free kill. More kills. All right, so a little bit of overstaying, but you guys are still going to pick up all these kills because they're getting greedy as well. Well,
The blue card TF.
yeah. Blue salute. All right, so it ends up being a pretty big kill trade. Let's see, what was it? They got 3 kills. You guys got like... Actually, it was pretty bad for your team. Oh, if he gets
I
both
think
these
we
kills...
overextended.
Ooh, yeah, definitely overstaying, but
Yep.
I mean, those are small things. Like, after you get a couple kills like that, you just got to realize enemy team will gravitate towards their... When they have voice communication, they're going to be faster about it too. So when you're low and you're vulnerable and you're diving turrets and stuff, just got to get out of there really fast. Just call it, get out if you feel uncomfortable and they're likely to be there.
Yeah, Shen had ulti there. And I think we
Oh.
communicated it.
Yeah. Yeah, their Victor upgraded his core 3 times already. It's not ideal anymore after the nerfs to the hex core. It used to be still cost efficient, but once they nerfed the hex core, it's just kind of pointless to do it.
I used to just go 1 core and then upgrade the next one during teamfight phase.
Yeah, you can do that, or you could do that. Now you have to do that, or you're wasting money. And when you receive the Shin ult, like, just get on top of them. I guess you didn't see it right away, but once the Shin ult's on you, it's like you're like this diseased human. The enemy team won't want to touch you. They're like, oh, get away, it's a Shin. Shin's ult this guy. But yeah. You also maxed your Q second. You definitely want to max your W second. Like, the W second is how you get, like, massive, or at least that's what I've been doing, unless I'm mistaken. The W second makes you ridiculously tanky, and the cooldown goes really low, and so you're just like impossible to kill, and you still do a lot of damage with just one rank in your queue. Bit messy. Got to say that dive, dude. Yeah, that dive definitely turns some things around. It's gonna be like a Quadra on Nocturne. Yeah. So you guys are coming in behind the tower. Like it was a really long extended play. Like Shin and you guys were like coming down to dive this guy. His upgraded gravity field pulls you in, but when you guys saw the Nocturne, that should have been like your cue to get out of here since everyone is so low. It would only work if it was just Victor down here, but just got super risky once the jungler came.
Honestly thought the Nami bubble hit, but it just missed.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But it still would have been really, really close. You can't go into a play and think like this only works. This tower dive only works if we hit every single skill shot. Because then it's just like, you can't rely on that. So, oh, I did not expect that. That was unexpected. Okay. Oh, the gravity field. That's rough. That is rough. Yeah, Twisted Fate's got to be careful about, against particular champions like Caitlyn and Jinx. Like, you're teleporting into a spot that they know you're at. They can just put a trap on you, or in that case, Victor can put down the gravity field directly on where you're standing, and then you just, you come into the play and you're CC'd. So,
I don't think he should have
bit
made that play to
overconfident.
begin with.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if he went into that play, he should have probably, done it when you guys were still alive and like trying to fend off the Nocturne. Ooh. Shin's coming in here. One small thing, I like this team fight's pretty chaotic, but I'm mostly just watching your positioning. One thing to note is like as a tank, don't stay in a team fight till you're dead. So right here, Shin is ulting in on you. Instead of moving back towards them, you should be moving to a neutral point where Shin can still be involved in the fight, but you get out right after. So I'm going to slow it down, but there's a moment where you should just start running. Um, it's right there. Like the moment where like the Shin shield like is no longer protecting your health pool and you're still moving towards them, you just got to get out of there. Like you're not like at that point the extra damage that you do to them won't like tip the balance of the fight, except you're risking like dying as well. And like well, you continue moving forward, you get feasted by Cho, but there's got to be that moment as a tank where you got to know where to pull back and just not give them that extra kill. Because then you can just go back, recall, heal, even buy home guard boots and be back to the extended fight. And sometimes that can carry fights. Like I've done that on a few occasions on initiation top laners like Hecarim. Like you fight the fight until you're like at 20% or something. You back out kind of safely, recall, buy home guard boots, or like if you have home guard boots already, just teleport back into the play, and then you're like an extra champion in the fight. In this case, like the fight ended right after, but you don't want to be that extra number, that extra bit of gold you give to your opponents. And when you're playing a tank, the reason why I brought it up is it's very easy to get into a mode where you stay in the fight until you're dead because you're thinking you want to tank it to the last drop. But in most cases, it's better for a tank to back out and just come back in when they're healthier once they're pretty low.
In that fight, would have been better for me to walk up so that Shen could have taunted um, Nocturne, and then I could have walked to the right towards the river.
Maybe. Like, in the last team fight when Shin ulted you,
Yep.
like when you're right next to Cho. Yeah, I mean, like, you want to move to a neutral point. Like, maybe not directly towards their damage, but to a point where Shin's still going to be useful when he
Okay.
TPs in. You just drop him off and you get out of there.
Is a delivery of Shen. Bye bye.
hmm I also like going Black Cleaver second on Skarner. I've done the Cinder Hulk and the Titanic, but I like the Black Cleaver second because of the CDR. It really helps your mid game out having more frequent ultimates and just more frequent stuns. And Merc Treads, of course, is a great buy with how much CC the enemy team has. So all right, so your team is like kind of getting caught up in this ARAM strat. And it's okay to do that when your team has globals and you have someone split pushing, like just buying time since you've got Shin split pushing. But like engaging at this point is kind of risky. I mean, you've got some poke down on them already, but the true way to abuse Shin is to like stay put, like just be close enough to them around mid lane as a team that you're keeping them interested so that they don't just immediately 5-man and run bottom and kill your Shin. But like waiting it out until Shin is being a threat. Like when Shin's like on their turret, like DPSing it and like being a threat, that's when the enemy team will start doing some really dumb stuff because they are under pressure. Like they're like, okay, if we don't like engage right now, like we're gonna lose. Like Shin's gonna take our turret. So like instead of being this close to the enemy team, like you got to give Shin a little bit of time because their top laner didn't have teleport up. You can really abuse the map pressure you guys have. Instead of like forcing a fight and maybe forcing Shin to ult into it, you allow Shin to get a CS advantage or start accruing more CS to maybe equalize the Cho'Gath CS. And you just like diversify your gold. You're farming more than one wave where the enemy team's like got 5 people mid, only splitting one wave of farming gold where your team has 2 going. Like you progressively get a lead when you do that. You can almost do it in 3 waves. You could have like Twisted Fate mid, you and your bottom lane like pushing top to take this turret, and like Shin bottom. And if you ward up well enough, like the enemy team is gonna be like, what the hell do we do? Like if we go in the Twisted Fate, like they just keep pushing top and then there's Shin bottom. So it gets pretty chaotic, but having globals is a really big advantage. There was a time and a place in the competitive scene where Shin and Twisted Fate was picked every single game, and they had to be nerfed pretty much into the ground because it was so incredibly potent. So,
OC wildcard, the mid laner picked TF with TP and did a backdoor during a
oh
team
yeah,
fight of dragon. That was insane.
that's cool. So you guys end up winning this fight. I mean, you guys had a pretty big gold lead, and it ends up working in your favor. But if the game was closer, can you see how this is kind of like risky for you guys to go into this fight? Maybe not even risky, but like you give up an advantage to go into this fight, whereas like you can keep Shin bottom split pushing against no one, accruing an advantage that way. If the game was a little bit closer before here, I mean, you guys were still behind in gold, or sorry, still ahead in gold by like 3,000, but like and ahead 2 dragons, but it's not like a insurmountable lead. And well, you guys have a Callista, and that's a champion that is very dirty and has a lot of kills. So it ends up working, but it's also important to see like what else you could do. Like you guys win this game, I already saw, but you know there are multiple ways to go about winning that game. So mostly replays. You can learn more from replays by watching a losing game, but you can still learn a lot from even a winning game of what you could do differently. And so, I mean, that's just a good example of how that team fight should be executed at a different way at a higher level to be successful. And your team needs to do a full reset. Everyone on your team needs to go back at the same time. I guess your Twist Fate is really healthy. He doesn't have a whole lot of items though. Your team resets and then just like preps for Baron. Like this late into the game, you have a lead. You guys just won a big team fight. Like Baron is going to be so easy for you to take. So you go back, like in your team speak or whatever, you just tell your team, like, all right, guys, we just won a big fight, 20 plus minutes, we're ahead. We clear wards on Baron. We're going to try to fight the enemy team when we have vision control. They're going to have to face check us here. We're going to win another fight, and it's going to be better because we'll be ready for Baron this time, and we're all going to be in the area. And then once you win that next fight, and you get Baron, the game is won. Like at that point, you systematically just have to make sure your team just doesn't walk into their nexus at the wrong time. But Shin doesn't have his ult quite up yet. You're trying to give red to Callista. This is like a vulnerable time because this is where people can get caught out. If your opponents knew that you guys were trading red or trading reds, you guys didn't have like words really leading up into that area other than this little point. So that could have been where they caught you. That was where you guys were vulnerable. If I was coaching the enemy team, I would be telling them, okay, you saw that your opponents weren't like grouped immediately. Could you have exploited that in some way? Could you have, like because they were split, could you have forced to play under the tower mid? Could you have killed them where they were? Did you know where they were? Why didn't you know where they were? And, keeping up with the cooldowns, like your opponents should pretty much know that Shin's ultimate isn't quite back up yet. It's a very long cooldown, so they could play around that. Like saying, okay, Shin's bottom, we could force a 4-on-5 right now, and, teleport is a slightly more awkward Shin ultimate, and it costs, it takes longer. But it might not be to the ideal spot. So your opponents should have exploited the fact that you guys were trading reds without vision, and that could have been where they caught you and took the lead. And you could shore up your weaknesses by, simply like knowing, communicating that, hey, we're going to trade reds, so the support needs to ward that side, because if they come and invade at that point in time, if they kill our 15 and 2 AD carry, we're screwed. Ooh. And they did just that. They exploited your team not being grouped by just hard engaging down mid. So your top lane, they probably just saw you. And in the enemy team's team speak, they're like, okay, Skarner's top, Shin's bottom, and then Cho was going for the flank. So there wasn't wards up here by your red. You guys didn't see Cho coming in from behind, and he lands a great rupture. So vision control again was like a big problem here, because they ended up sneaking up and getting a kill on two of your carries, your biggest carry and the support. And Shin, I guess, wasn't quite ready for that with his ult, and it probably wouldn't have mattered because they died so quickly anyways. But you guys are in a pretty big pickle. Enemy team should probably do Baron instead of pushing, because they won't be able to get to your inhibitor before your team respawns. So this early into the game, the reason why like Baron becomes such a high priority is because if you win a team fight, if you're not like already on their inhibitor, the death timers are too short. Like you'll get the inhibitor and like the enemy team will be like on top of you with home guards. So, this early into the game when the levels are so low that your opponent should have just done Baron. They should have gotten those 3 kills and then like, pinked Baron and just started it. And then if you and Shin try to make a miracle play, they probably kill both of you and get Baron too. So it even creates more kills for their team in addition to Baron. So they make a mistake by not going to do Baron. The death timers are really short. You guys have globals on them anyways.
We were all
And Joe
questioning that. I was like, why aren't they just doing Baron? They can't get out.
oh yeah, they should have done Baron for sure. They definitely should have done Baron. Instead, they get like 2 towers, and then like they recall, and you guys can probably catch them here. Yeah, here it is. Yeah. Yep. And then now you guys will get Baron. Cho is bottom and without teleport, or did he teleport bottom? I think he teleported bottom. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he did.
And then you guys get Baron. Yep. One small decision of your opponents, like it cost them big. They could have gotten Baron. It takes Baron off the map. You guys wouldn't be able to get Baron in, for the next bit. So they made a big throw play. You guys took Baron off the table. You're already like in it, still a pretty good spot. It's only if like after a team fight that you punish your opponents by taking an objective that you really control the game. You can kill your opponents like a couple times in a team fight, but if you make like one mistake and they do the right call of doing Baron or something like that, like they can just be right back in the game. So get those kills into objectives. That's the key. And so in solo queue, most of the time players get so hypey over kills because they think that's how they have control over the game. That's just not it at all. Kills lead to the objectives, which leads to the infallible lead of your team getting so strong that they're incapable of making the dumb plays to throw the game. If you get your team like 5 dragons and Baron, like it's really hard to lose. Like I have not seen very many games thrown from 5 dragons and a Baron. Like you just got to get as many objectives as you can to your team, and like get them to the point where they're so strong and like so buffed up, and your minis are so buffed up that it's just like you just win. Like you just attack move to their nexus.
I won a game the other day where the enemies just dived us, and all 5 of them died, so we finished the game. At our
Yeah.
nexus. We had nothing up, just our nexus.
Yeah. The biggest objective of them all is killing the nexus. They don't do that, then well. Yep. gotta get the objectives. All right, so you guys have Baron. Like, you just got to remember that the weakness is you guys were split for a good like 2 minutes after getting Baron, and that's usually where your team will make mistakes and get caught out. Like that was pretty risky to go for that. I mean, you're Skarner, you're like pretty much unkillable, but it's still like a concern. Like you don't want to pick up bad habits just because you're playing a champion that like is designed to wreck.
I just
But
blindly go for the crystals all the time.
yeah. The crystals are decent, but like for the most part, I think they're pretty overrated. You just want to use them for like clearing your own jungle, and like
Okay.
if they know where you are, then it's fine to take the crystal. But like they saw you run up here, so taking the crystal just gives extra gold, and then also gives more area to fight in for you, to where you're super OP, the attack speed and movement speed. But I wouldn't like risk things for the crystals. Your Shin's going for a flank here. Ooh, if that taunt had hit on the Caitlyn, that would have been it. Okay, but you guys are still in a great spot. Yeah. Ooh, so close. The flash auto. But the big thing is you guys are finally getting to the point where you're fighting and you're pushing, but it's without Baron. So for that 1 to 2 minutes where you guys were doing nothing, that should have been like you guys like getting a position to do what you just did. So when you were making these plays, you're with the Baron buff. And that takes, getting used to doing, because a lot of times in solo queue, after getting an objective, you want to get like as big as possible, consume everything, like all the minions, push out all the waves and stuff like that. In competitive play, you see people like play differently. Like they might still clear out the waves and push and make sure that the waves are pushing um, favorably for them, but they really factor in Baron buff. Like they're going to try to use the objective of Baron buff to get another objective, like the inhibitor, as soon as possible. So your team probably should have started these pushes and stuff like that with the Baron, just because it's easier. Like the Baron buffed minions are really hard to clear, get more time to kill the minions out. But you guys, still have a really big lead. Your AD carry is massive and playing Callista, so that's the end of the game. GG, well played. You guys won, but hopefully that did shed some light on some things that could be done differently, even though it was a
Definitely.
one game.
Well, definitely helps. Um, is it worth trading inhib for Baron? I don't feel like it is. I feel like
No,
Baron is a better
Baron is
objective.
better than Inhibitor. Once they and I guess it was the start of season 5 or maybe end of season 4. Whenever they made it so Baron gives you the enhanced recall, that's
Yep.
whenever the tipping point happened where Baron is just greater than Inhibitor because it helps you defend. Right after you get Baron, you can instantly defend, and you're just strong. Like you get more gold, more experience than the enemy team would if they got the Inhibitor, or your team got the Inhibitor. It's just like yeah, Baron is definitely superior to inhibitors now. But the cool thing about Baron is like you get Baron and it pretty much grants you an inhibitor. So that's why
Yep.
Baron is so important.
Okay. Alright. I don't think I have any other questions. I think that's
Yeah,
pretty much it.
cool.
Thanks for that. That was really good.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, bye.
See ya.